Hey, thanks, Mike. Just wanted to say a quick thank you to all our entire coaching staff, all of our players, the equipment staff, the medical staff, the health professionals that have helped us the last 2 months getting us ready for this phase where we're starting camp. Really proud of the efforts of everybody. It's been really positive. Health and safety of all of our guys is the number one priority, as well as the coaching staff and every single member of the organization that comes out here to make this thing work. We've taken some really positive measures, some very detailed protocols that we go through to ensure the health and safety of everybody as we've been going through the off-season workouts over the last 2 months, as we've gone through the walkthrough sessions over the last 2 weeks, and obviously today starting camp. I think Ken Segura wrote a great article detailing and laying out a lot of the things that we've done to ensure the health and safety of our guys. So if anybody hadn't read that, that covers a lot of it. Some of the things that we've implemented even since that article. If you guys come out here to practice, there's about 180 safety loops that we've had painted on all the sidelines, on all the fields. So the guys, when they go to the sidelines, even the staff members, they know exactly what the distance they need to be from anybody else in the organization. That's been a really good thing for us. We've gotten safety loops that we put behind the offense on some of the periods that we transition and we sub in from the back. And those have been positive. So when they come between reps, they get in their safety loop and get ready for the next rep. We've been doing during the walkthrough period, we've been having split practices. So we have the team divided into two different groups, and we do our walkthrough periods in those separate groups to minimize the number of people standing around. We've done that today during camp as well. So hats off to everybody, all the coaches that are putting in basically 2-a-days for the coaches and for the staff. Obviously for the players, it's just one practice a day, or when we were doing the walkthrough period, it's one walkthrough period a day. That has been really positive. Really appreciate the efforts of the coaches and the rest of the staff to make sure we're able to do that for the health and safety of our guys. I've got an electronic whistle. I never knew that sort of thing existed until a week ago, and that's been a positive thing because trying to blow a whistle with one of these things on really wasn't very successful. So we found an electronic whistle, and that's been really good working out for us. We also have 2 locker rooms that we're using. So again, trying to make sure that the 2 teams that are the 2 practice squads that are divided up, when they go to the locker room, there's a 3 locker buffer when they're in the locker room, just to increase the distance when they are allowed in there. And we manage the amount of people that can be in each one, and we keep it flowing and keep it moving. That's been another positive thing. I appreciate the players understanding us using 2 locker rooms, the why behind it, and executing that really well. Roster updates. I think, Mike, we're releasing the media guide today. The roster will be today. And obviously, as it gets released, there'll be some names that have been on there in the past that won't be on there. And like we do, with every single person that departs the program, we love them. We wish them the very, very best. Whether they're getting their degree here at Georgia Tech and continuing their education but not playing ball, or if they've gone on elsewhere, we wish them the absolute best, and we will support them through every phase as they need us to. One name also that I'll address very quickly, Devin Cochran, who signed with us, will not be enrolling in Georgia Tech. And the same thing that we do with everybody else, we let them, the guys that do not continue in the program or do not enroll in the program, we let them put out their statement. But obviously, we wish him the very best. With that, I believe we'll open it up for questions, Mike.
Terrific. Thank you, Coach. Okay, everybody, if you could, please raise your hand within Zoom if you would like to ask a question. I'll call on people whose hands are raised. Please unmute your microphone, ask your question, and then mute your microphone again. So go ahead and raise your hand within Zoom, and we'll go ahead and call on folks as we see that. There's one. Okay, our first question, Justin Felder from Fox 5. Justin, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this, and I apologize in advance for the red shirt. Was not thinking ahead. As you look,
I think you're just trying to get a care package mailed to you. I appreciate the effort.
No, I have many colors of shirts.
Okay.
Just my bad. As you look around college football right now, and you see, UConn this morning deciding not to play football, conferences making big changes. What's your confidence level that this season is going to be able to be played and then be able to be completed?
Yeah, the biggest thing in the whole philosophy that we've had ever since we left March 12th was to control what we can control, make sure we're putting protocols in place to take care of our guys, to make sure we have the healthiest and safest standards at our facility, the protocols for our players and for our coaching staff and for everybody associated in the organization. That has been the number one priority. We've gone to great lengths to control what we can control in our building, in our organization, with our coaching staff, with our players, and our complete focus is on what we need to do every single day to provide the safest environment and let our guys develop in an environment that follows all the protocols laid down by our medical professionals. Our guys have embraced it. Our coaching staff has done an amazing job educating our guys, making sure they're doing the right things on and off the field. And we've got a lot of guys that got a lot of experience last year and have matured in this program that understand that every decision that we make on and off the field affects everybody else in the organization. And that's never been more true than it is today. And we will continue to do that, keep being updated by our medical professionals, the CDC, the guidelines that are released by the medical professionals in our community and in the ACC and the NCAA, and we will make sure every single day we stress a safe environment for our guys to continue to develop.
Okay, our next question that we have in queue is Alex Glaze from 11 Alive. Alex, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Geoff. Obviously, safety is paramount, especially this year. Just curious because there's such a wide range of reaction to all of this. I'm sure you've been getting a lot of calls from parents, concerned, just what have those conversations been like, and how have you been able to kind of ease the concerns of parents that might be concerned about the safety of their child?
Yep. So I think you guys have gotten to know us for a while now. We are very, very proactive. There's level of Zoom meetings that we've had throughout this entire time. I had Zoom meetings with the parents while we were all separate. Then before the guys came back, as we were phasing them in, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, I had conversations, Zoom calls with the parents. Then as we were knee deep into it and the guys were here, I was giving them updates. We had Zoom meetings to give them updates where we were in the current environment, all the steps and the protocols that we take to make sure our guys are healthy and safe. We truly believe in this organization in a redundancy of communication, and we've tried to do that. So instead of getting calls, we're being proactive with the message. We're being proactive with the steps and protocols and the measures that we're taking, so the parents feel good, the guys feel good. There's open lines of communication, so the guys feel that they're in a safe environment, and they can trust the things that we're doing and that we have their best interest at heart, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure the environment that they have, that they're entering into, is as good as it can possibly be.
Okay, Ken Segura, you're up next.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, the split practices. How long do you plan on doing that, and how do you divide the groups?
Yeah, so for the most part, the way we divided up was based on roommates, kind of the way we did the cohorts this summer. Try to keep the integrity of the roommate piece. So the roommates, they're in the same cohorts for the lifting. We still have right now, I think there's 9 cohorts that we're going to lift with. And then we divide those 2 cohorts up, an older group and a younger group for the most part, trying to maintain the integrity of those cohorts as we go through. Obviously, as injuries happen, we might have to adjust some guys that come and practice with the one group or we have to shuffle to get some guys to practice with the other. But it was really good this morning. It's been good during the walkthrough period that we've had, and just trying to make sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to just keep the guys in certain cohorts and group together. So that if there was at all anything that entered into the organization, it would mitigate the spread, those kind of things.
Will they be back to back, or how?
Yes, that's what we've been doing. We've been here. We had a staff meeting literally on the Georgia Tech logo on the field this morning. We had our safety loops. You guys have probably seen the picture that Morpheus posted. We had our safety loops popped out on the logo. Everybody was distanced away. We had our mask on. I came up at 7. We had our staff meeting. We put the ball down at 7:30 with the guys, had the first practice. The second practice started at 9:30 to give ample time to clear the field, get them safely to the 2 locker rooms. Then the next practice started. So it's a continuous flow for the coaches and for the staff and for the medical professionals and the trainers. But for the guys, it's get in, get out, and then they'll have other things spaced out as well during the day. This is not business as usual. This is not a typical camp. And we spent a long time. We had position meetings last night that I hopped on to go in detail the why behind what we're doing and why we're doing it. The guys appreciated it. The guys understood it. Now they just come out here today and put the ball down and play. The way we did practice as well, again, it's not business as normal. There were certain periods today, the first day of camp, that we just took our helmets off. So whenever we were doing a walkthrough piece, whenever we were doing an individual period, we took helmets off and masked up. And, just to make sure we're ensuring the safety of the guys and they're getting good work in. And if we don't have to wear the helmet, we weren't wearing the helmet today. And we will try to space out as many of those periods moving forward as well as we go.
Okay. Next up, Allison Mastrangelo, WSB TV.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, the news broke this week about, the rivalry being ended, at least for this season. I know you guys released a statement, but what was your overall reaction? And then just your message to the seniors this year who don't get to play in it?
Yeah, so that was one of the biggest pieces. That was one of the first things that, crossed my mind, that I hate that the seniors that have laid the foundation for this program and all the success that we're going to have aren't going to get to play our in-state rivalry that's 72 miles outside of Atlanta. We're not going to get to play that game. And so I hate it for them. I have confidence in the way that we're going to continue to go about our business, get better every single day. And when we do play them in the future, the team that they see is not going to be the team that they saw back in November after Thanksgiving. So just really proud of the guys, the way they've handled the situations, the way they've handled any kind of news that we've gotten throughout, and just move on to the next day. Here's the situation that we're in. Here's how we got to improve. Here's how we got to get better. And really been proud of how they've handled it.
Okay, next up, David Teal. David Teal, Dean of ACC Writers up in Virginia. David, go ahead.
Geoff, kind of piggybacking on that question, what is your impression of the ACC's 10+1 schedule approach and the inclusion for this season of Notre Dame in the conference?
Yeah, so just the same thing. There's been different variables. I don't know, is the sound messed up? Are we good? So they're actually disinfecting all the equipment right now. So I apologize. So back to the question. As we've been going through the summer, every Wednesday we've been meeting as an ACC head coaches group. Every week we've been meeting as a Georgia Tech head coaches group. So the variables and the different possibilities that have been floated throughout the summer, we've just tried to just keep going with what we can control, keeping a level head about us, making sure we're the best team we can possibly be in every phase as we go to the next thing. And, so here's the schedule. Here's what it is. Let's go and, make the most of it. We started breaking down. So normally over the summer and even the spring, you break down all the teams that you're going to play. Offense, defense, special teams, get a full breakdown, get a full menu. As we've been going later in the summer and we've heard of the different possibilities, we started breaking down Florida State. We started breaking down teams that are relatively close proximity of us. Then started breaking down Louisville and those kind of things. Notre Dame was already in that plan because we were going to play them at Mercedes-Benz Stadium anyway. Really thankful for Todd Stansberry and our athletic department getting a 6th year of our Mercedes-Benz series. That's going to be really good for us, really good for the program, the exposure for recruiting. So every player that chooses to come play at Georgia Tech here going forward will play a game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is the preeminent football facility in the world. And so just same thing, whatever they tell us, whoever they tell us we're going to play, we're going to prepare, put the ball down, be the best version of ourselves we can be, and excited to when they release the schedule so that we know who we're preparing for the first game. But the mentality that we have in this program is just focus on ourselves, focus on the internal, be the best team that we can be, has never been more true than now because we don't know who we're playing first. So we just got to put the ball down and get ready and be the best version of ourselves. Still a fluid environment. Our athletic department is working on that, and they're keeping me, in the loop, and we're having discussions about it as we go.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Daniel Shirley from The Athletic.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the freshmen. How does this affect them as far as playing this year and having to be redshirted and being behind because of all of these things they've not gotten this summer?
I don't know that we've made any of those kind of decisions. They're coming in here, they're working hard, they're having a really good attitude. They've been kind of on their own. They've been with the younger practice groups, so they haven't been in with a bunch of the older guys just yet. But I think we've made it be a good thing for them and their development. Once we roll into having full squad practices, once we're able to do workouts as a whole team in a safe environment, excited to see them be around some of the older guys as well, but really, really excited about this group of guys. Patrick Suddes and his staff, Thomas Gregory, Karina Hargraves, Mike Gregory did a great job with the evaluation piece of this signing class, with the evaluation of character, and obviously their tape speaks for itself, but who they are as young men, how they've come into this program, embraced everything that we're about as a culture, has been really impressive. The size gains that we've made from this time last year are through the roof. And then as we get numbers here in the next week or so, it's going to be really impressive. But you walk out here, and our offense and defensive lines going against each other with the young guys practicing. I mean, it's 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 280, 300 going against each other every day. And, there's some tremendous speed, athleticism. So really, really happy with the signing class that we have.
Okay, Alex Glaze, did you have a follow-up question, or is your hand just still accidentally raised?
Yeah, I had another question if it's cool.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, Geoff, obviously there have been players that have decided not to play this season at school, across the country. Have you had any players come to you and, decide not to play this year, or have you had any of those conversations?
Not really. We have had the conversations that if there's any concerns, please let us know. We fully support having conversations with our guys. We have such good relationships with our players from our position coaches. I've been blessed to develop some really good relationships with our guys, and hopefully they truly understand how much we love them, how much we care for them, how much we want to engage in all of those conversations as they arise. I can't speak to players that are at other places, what their family situation is, what the concerns that they might have, but just the biggest thing is we want to make sure our guys know how much we love them and care for them, and want to make sure they're constantly in a safe environment where they feel valued and loved and respected, and that we're doing everything that we can to provide a safe environment so they can perform, they can develop to their very best.
Kelly Quinlan, Rivals.com, you're up next. Kelly, you there? Okay, we'll move back on to Ken Segura. Another question from Ken.
unmute myself. My bad.
Oh, okay. There's Kelly. We'll start with Kelly.
Coach, I was just curious if your approach to this season changes, knowing that maybe there's not going to be a full season, or it's going to be different in terms of how you play players and kind of approach some of your younger guys in development. Does it change kind of how you approach the next couple of weeks as you get ready?
Yeah, so the development piece, we've got a staged plan to get them integrated into a full group of a team when we have the ability to practice as a whole team. So we are taking incremental steps through that as well. If you guys came out to a practice, and you guys have been out here to a practice in the past, and it is chaos and it is mayhem and there is all kinds of transitions and people running here and for and everywhere, and crazy intensity, crazy transitions. If you came out to today's practice or even the walkthroughs we've had the last 2 weeks, we're taking a very measured approach. We're doing walkthroughs, and then we'll do the team run. We'll do a walkthrough, and then we'll do a team blitz, run polish, and then team loose plays, those kind of things, route polish, and then 7-on-7, which are things that we've never done before. But we said this going into it, the teams and the coaching staffs that can be very fluid, that can be very innovative, that can take the situation that we're in and not have to rely on things that have happened for the last 30 years in college football, and find a new way and a better way and a safer way, are going to be the teams. Their guys are going to develop. They're going to be more successful. There's going to be higher trust factor. And if you came out to our practices, you would see that every day. They're cleaning again, which is a good thing. But just the development piece is always huge in our program, whether you're a fifth-year senior, whether you're a brand new signee, whether you're a third-year walk-on. Everybody has value in this program. Everybody is going to develop at a high level. And then as we get closer to it, so we've got a week and a half that we have camp before school starts. And then we're going to have roughly 4 weeks while school's in session. So we will alter some things as we go to enhance the development and the progression of how we get to game week. We're also doing some things that we'll probably, that we haven't done in the past. We'll probably take some periods to do some very calculated, measured conditioning periods, because the same thing that we do when we had those chaotic practices, they would play themselves into shape. Well, now we want to make sure we have the social distancing practices. They have space between it for them to do the running and those kind of things, and make sure we're providing the safest environment possible.
Okay, next up, Danny Thompson from 3-point conversion right here in Atlanta. Danny, you'll need to unmute if you're trying to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I hit the button by accident. Sorry, Coach. With everything being brand new to everybody, especially with the coaching staff, how creative and how much fun is it to create new types of ways to make sure the players are engaged as far as workouts, different things for practices, and getting the players ready? How fun has it been creative-wise?
Well, I mean, if you guys have been around us and seen how we operate, that's part of our DNA, and that is who we are. And the same thing, the teams that can be innovative, the teams that can be creative, the teams that can think outside of the box are going to be the ones that are successful. And that's what we're trying to do every single day, even when our guys were away from us. Lou Corral, our head strength coach, went viral probably 8 to 10 times with his workouts and the things that he was providing for our players, the motivation that we do to keep our guys engaged. And I just think it goes back to the relationships, the trust, the love that you have for your guys. It really helps in situations that are unique. When you get thrown some curveballs and, you're in a situation that nobody's ever been in before, having that trust factor, the love and the care factor pays dividends so that the guys make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. The coaching staff is doing what they're supposed to do to develop every single day. But yes, I am the creative piece and the thinking outside the box piece. I'm blessed to have a young, innovating coaching staff that really helps me do that and connect with the guys.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. So we've got a follow-up from Ken, and then we'll follow that up with a follow-up from Allison. So Ken, go ahead.
And Jeff, I was wondering, I don't know if the rules for number of practices are different now, but will you space out Right, so like maybe go a day, rather than 5 days a week.
100%. So that's already part of the plan. Ryan Horton has done we use the catapult system. Ryan Horton has done a incremental player load that we need to go through and how it ebbs and it flows throughout the entire preseason. We had already done that for the initial model when we were going to play on September 3rd. We had a model set for exactly how we were going to practice, exactly how we were going to layer in the player loads throughout the preseason. Obviously, now that adjusted. It also further adjusted when we got added those extra walkthroughs for the last couple of weeks. So we've taken all of that data, all of that information to make sure we're making really good decisions how we're going to ebb and flow to get ready for our first game, to keep the guys healthy, keep the guys safe. I've got that schedule, the days off, and there will be much more days off than have in the past, and much more days off than we even have to give. And all that's based on data, all that's based on science, to make sure our guys continue their development, but continue their development in a healthy and safe way.
Okay, we'll go ahead. Last question from Allison.
Hey, Coach, all of this is new for all of us, and there's been so many challenges. And, when talking with the Braves, they talk about how they're following strict guidelines, but it's hard when it comes to, like, your home run celebration. Have there been any challenges for you? Like, what's been the biggest thing they've had to be like, whoa, guys, like, you can't do that because it's just so natural?
Right. I mean, there's just the piece about standing on the sidelines. The first day we had an OTA or a walkthrough, the guys would just naturally bunch up. And I'm just looking at them like, well, we can't do that. The periods that you don't even, when you first come out here, you don't even think about. You think about the spacing while we're doing the drills. You think about the spacing when you're doing the individual. But one of the biggest quality control pieces in the walkthrough is when they're on the sidelines, they started bunching up. And I wish y'all could see it. I mean, they're literally right here on this sideline. I think there's 60 some odd circles painted on this sideline, 60 on that one, and another 60 over there, just to control the sideline. So everybody knows when they come off the field, I have a visual representation of the spacing. As we get the new game field painted, Morpheus, our brand manager, is going to have little things painted on our tarp to designate where they should be able to stand so that they can keep their distance while they're on the sideline. So those kind of things, we're having open dialogue throughout the practices, throughout the walkthroughs. Me and Scott Wallace, our director of operations, are constantly taking notes, constantly how we can do things better. When we first started it, everybody had their own water bottle, and they still all have their own water bottle. But what we started doing as well is we would package where certain periods were going to be. So if we're going to do a team blitz, or we're going to do 7-on-7, or we're going to do a team run, we're going to start those every day around the same area. Well, if you've ever seen a 5K or a marathon, the way they set up the tables of the water cups, well, we know that's going to be a time where there's going to be some congregation. They're going to be in their social distance loops and all those things. But instead of having to carry their water bottles to those drills, there's 50 to 60 cups of ice cold water right there. So as they're between breaks or between plays or between sets, get some water, throw it in the trash, and get back and ready to go. So all of those things are constantly talked about throughout the day and constantly improved on as we go for the health and safety of our guys.
Okay, well, thank you, Coach. Thank you, everybody, for participating.